We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The 10th chapter of Panchadasi, titled Nataka Deepa Prakaranam. Today we are going to continue with the 19th verse. The 17th and the 18th verses, Vidyaranya Swami talked about the mind going out through the sense organs to the world and the mind being fickle, keeps on changing. That was said in the 17th verse. And in the 18th verse, he gave an example of a shadow, if you recall. If through the window, if a beam of light flashes on the wall and you keep your fingers in between the beam, if you move your fingers, it will appear as if the beam on the wall is dancing. You see a reflection. So similarly, what he wants to convey is when the mind moves, we all think that I, the sakshi, I move, I am changing. It is an adhyasa, a superimposition. Throughout Panchadasi, Vidyaranya has a style of teaching. And his style is, he goes extremely deep into the working of the human mind. I have not seen a single text as deep as this text. If you want to consider the analysis, the structure of our mind. Very, very deep analysis. You will be amazed at the depth when we study chapter 2. So much so, in that chapter, he says that our mind is the cause of the rebirth into another body. And he has got a very good explanation for that. And he's structured the whole topic in that chapter by saying that our vrittis are the thoughts in the mind are basically the effect of punya papam, the merit and the demerit, which belongs to the jiva. So what I want to say conveys that the force of the impressions or the samskaras or the thoughts which we have on a daily basis, they are extremely powerful even to create another body. Just to get another body is so powerful. And our whole experience of life with the help of thoughts explained through the law of karma in the Bhagavad Gita and other texts becomes easy to understand when you are able to appreciate it is the thought which makes our life good or bad. And it is an effect of the previous impressions we have gathered. Like today, if you are able to remember and you keep on, yesterday, suppose you watched a film, today your mind will automatically think of the film. automatically, without even you making an effort. So similarly, there are certain impressions which we have been gathering throughout this life and the previous life, and it becomes a tendency. And the power of this mind is amazing. It can, and the two amazing things in this whole creation is the pure consciousness, the sakshi, and the human mind. So coming back to this chapter, in the verses from 19 to 26, 7 verses, we are reaching the climax of chapter 10, where Vidyaranya is trying to reveal the nature of the universe and the nature of sakshi. In this revelation, time and space is the topic he's taking up for analysis. Where does time come from? Where does space come from? Is it already existing time space in which I am experiencing it, I come and go? Or is it I am existing and the time and space is coming in me? Two principles we are going to study. You can think about it, slowly understand how deep we can get into this type of analysis. I will be going through the verses. At that time, you can see. So with that small introduction, I will go straight to the topic verse today, the verse number 19. Nijasthana sthita sakshi bahirantar gama gamau akurvan buddhi chanchalyat karotiva tatha tatha. Very, very beautiful verses, simple Sanskrit verses. Nijasthana sthita sakshi. I'm going to elaborately discuss these verses, especially the next verse, 20th verse. I'm going to do a lot of analysis on that. Here in this verse, he says that the witness consciousness is fixed. It doesn't move because it's all-pervading, sakshi, pure awareness. It can neither go out or neither come in, because he is now comparing to the mind which goes out and which comes in. And he says that there is a superimposition of that I, the pure consciousness, awareness principle, on the mind. Therefore, I feel as if I am getting disturbed by the mind. This concept we have seen several times in all our studies in Atma Bodha, in Bhagavad Gita, in Dakshinamurti Stotram. Several places we have seen this superimposition of the mind on Atma. Here, sakshi is the motionless, unlocated. Very important is there is no location for sakshi. If you remember this fact, then it is easy for you to accept the fact that in the sleep state, we have ignorance. But through these verses, I can say that I exist in the sleep state in which there is no location, there is no time experienced by me. In the actual sleep state, I cannot do that, because that is tamo guna. Whereas in the waking state, I can accept the fact that my existence in the sleep state is without location, without time. That is what is the main message in this following verses. That sakshi does not do anything, does not act. In Bhagavad Gita, we have many, many verses where the Lord Krishna says, I do not act at all. So many verses. And in this Saturday, coming Saturday, I'll be doing a summary of the Gita. Complete summary, selected verses from the whole Gita, because I have finished the Bhagavad Gita course. I'll be taking a summary. And I'll be talking about the whole concept of this motionlessness of Atma. So sakshi appears to move due to the restless mind. This appearance, that means I am the pure awareness. I am not at all having any disturbance in myself. Whenever the mind gets disturbed due to prarabdha karma, the mind becomes agitated, mind becomes disturbed. There is a law of karma which will determine whatever thoughts are coming in the mind. And that disturbance, I do not know it is mind. That is where the gap of ignorance lies. In the waking state, the moment I realize that all this, because the mind, all these disturbances belong to the mind, not to me, the sakshi. Mind moves outwards. That means the mind goes through the sense organs and then it has perceptions. And then it comes inwards. When it comes, how does it come inward? When I start contemplating on the world, then the mind is inward. Suppose I'm thinking of my daughter or son abroad. What is he doing now? Is he having breakfast? Is he healthy? Not healthy? It is all thoughts in my mind. The son or daughter is somewhere else, but that has entered my mind through the vrittis, through the thoughts. That is what is called as gamanam agamanam. Moving out, coming back. I keep on thinking, again it goes out, again it comes, again it goes out, again it comes. Akurvan buddhi chanchalyam. Chanchalyam means it is the disturbance of the mind. How do I understand this chanchalyam? The chanchalyam means the disturbances, agitations. Whenever I try to do japa, for example, I want to chant, you can try this anytime. You can just sit down quietly and say, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to do japa. 5 minutes. Just chant Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Make up your mind, I will chant 10 times. You will find before you end the 10th time, your mind would have wandered at least 4 times. At least, minimum 4 times, everybody's mind, not only yours, everybody's mind. That is what is called is chanchalyam. Fickleness. It doesn't stay in one place. It cannot remain. Faster the motion in mind, then it becomes emotion. Suppose the mind is thinking in very fast manner. That fast motion becomes emotion. And that emotion gets converted as raga and dvesha. I like something, I don't like something. I want to go out, I want to go and see London. I want to go to New York, I want to see that, I want to see this. That is an emotion. And whenever we are trying to develop sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti means viveka vairagyam Shamada, Shama Adi Sampatti, and then we have Mumukshutva. The four key fundamental requirements of a seeker. All that belongs to the mind. It does not belong to the Atma. So whenever I am trying to purify my mind, it is through this process of discrimination and withdrawal, vairagyam, I try to purify that mind, which is chanchalyam. Sakshi nijasthana stitaha. Sakshi remains in its own place as chid akasha. Chidakasha. What do you mean by chidakasha? Whenever our mind wakes up, that sakshi has a reflection. That reflection has got a location. But the original sakshi has no location. This is how the Shastra explains to us the sakshi and the mind. Bahihi antar agamanam. Neither goes out or returns. What doesn't go out or return? The sakshi. Two modes of the mind are there. Bahir gamanam, antar gamanam. Projection of the mind on the world. When I am sad, everything around looks gloomy to me. Whole day I think that the world is very sorrowful, this, all the problems of the world, I keep on, because my thoughts are sorrowful. Suppose I have wealth and I have good food and I have everything going good for me. Then what happens? Then everything is, the world is good. So the world is good or bad, it does not depend on the world, but it depends on the thoughts which I generate in my mind. This is the fact, this is what we want, Vidyaranya wants to convey. And consciously we become aware of this. You see, we may not be able to change our thoughts. Very difficult. But we can all become aware of this. Through this study of the scriptures, the more we study this Panchadasi, I give you a guarantee that by the end of this Panchadasi, whatever program we are planning to do, you will be able to go deep inside your mind. There is no other text in psychology or any other place where you can have such a detailed study of the human mind. Internalization is antar agamanam. Suppose I sit down in a place and I internalize the thoughts which I have gathered. It's not fresh thoughts. This is where this is what happens to us in meditation. The entire external world resides in our mind. We have experienced something, but most of us, we have this problem, and the world is resting in our own mind. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Sparshan kritva bahirbahyan chakshushayvantare bhruvoh pranapano samau kritva nasabhyantara charinav. In the 5th chapter, 27th verse, towards the end of the 5th chapter, Lord Krishna gives a preamble to the 6th chapter of the Gita. In the 5th chapter, he says, Arjuna, shut out the external contacts of your sense organs with the world. How? By equalizing the outgoing and incoming breath. That means by the control of breath, by watching your breath, by balancing the inhalation and exhalation. That is what we try to do most of our times in meditation. Because of this particular verse, when we watch our breath, we balance the inhalation and exhalation. In meditation, whenever I say watch your breath, what we are doing is We are following this particular verse, 27th verse of the 5th chapter. Akurvat buddhi chanchalyat. It is mind's projection and internalization, but it does not belong to the awareness, the sakshi. Sakshi is just a witness. Throughout this chapter, the whole chapter is sakshi pradhanam. What Vidyaranya wants to reveal is sakshi. Nature of sakshi is self-evident, like that light on the dancing hall. World's experience and projections, internalizations are only in the surface of the mind. The moment I go to sleep, all these projections, they stop. Deep in my own consciousness, these projections do not exist. Thoughts are waves, ripples in consciousness. When the mind is quiet, I feel the presence of awareness very strongly. That is why I keep repeating this. After you have quietened the mind, watched your breath, you don't need to start any thinking process. You will be able to experience that pure presence, the awareness. All of us can get it. It is a question of only practice, abhyasa. You keep doing it every day, 5 minutes. Each one of us can say, I can spare 5 minutes. Give it an attempt. And slowly you will discover it's possible. Initially, your mind will agitate. It will throw you out. It will say this is impossible. Like how Arjuna also said, this whatever you're talking about meditation, all that is not for me. But then Lord Krishna says, don't give up. Practice. Practice, abhyasa and vairagya. Vairagya means what? Withdrawal from the world. Keep practicing the control of the mind by withdrawing from the world. Practice, practice. If identified with the mind, you're not present, not aware of the self. Suppose the mind takes us for a ride. The moment the mind has taken the I, the pure awareness, then what happens? Then we are not aware of the self. Reality of sakshi comes to the surface when the mind is quiet, sattvic mind. Then we can realize that the world, our own world in which we live in, each one of us lives in our own individual worlds. You will be thinking about your family. I'll be thinking about my family, my surrounding, the events in my area. You will be thinking about your events, wherever you're situated, whichever part of the universe you're situated, you will be, each one of us have their own private world. And that is what sakshi is witnessing. For each one, the world is different, the individual world is different, but the sakshi which is illuminating that world is one pure awareness, consciousness principle, which has no location. It is not limited by space. It is not limited by time. It is not limited by the events happening in individual mind. I am the sakshi is only concrete entity in the whole universe. And that is why we say it is the reality. Because sakshi is the reality, the world is coming and going in that consciousness. Matter, antaha, bahihi. Antaha, when you say it is the mind. Bahihi means outer, external. With reference to the mind, the world is external. We have seen this in the previous verses, also in the same chapter. By habit, we feel concerned and attached to the outside world. Only by habit. We have just been, by habit, we keep on thinking, again and again thinking of the world. it is taken for granted that the mind's conditions, which is the projection and internalization, is real. We have taken it for granted that it exists. But what Vidyaranya says is it's a fleeting appearance. Throughout our spiritual study, this fact you should remember. Mind is fleeting substance. It consists of thoughts. The thoughts are determined by 3 gunas. The constituent of a thought is sattva, rajas, tamas, which is called as prakriti or maya. I am different. I am the sakshi. More depth will come in the second chapter. I'm just giving you some how Vidyaranya thinks about this whole concept of the mind. So we do not identify with the mind as the self, then that is called as vairagya. Suppose I go and dance with my own mind, obviously then that is ahankara. We remain unconcerned with the protestations of the mind. Suppose you say, no, I want to withdraw. Mind will protest. How can you say you will withdraw? I will make sure that you are not withdrawing. You are always with me. It's like hypnotizing yourself. You keep saying, I am unattached. You come out of the mind identified lifestyle. This in several other books, other authors have also said this, that by saying that you are the sakshi again and again, what you do is you are owning up the fact of which is there all the time. When you do this several times, then you become eligible to understand the nature of Atma. Daily in our sleep, we drop all the attachments and remain as sakshi. So what is our true nature? It is non-attached, not projecting, not internalizing. Nature is my real nature. Beyond this thinking mind, beyond this changing mind, there is a non-changing, non-moving awareness. The source of the mind is an awareness principle. When I say source, what does it mean? It is from this awareness, every day we wake up to the mind. Experience the thoughts, again it goes back and resolves into the reality, which is the awareness. So what is this mind? Mind is a tormentor. It torments us sitting inside. Inside means what? Sitting inside the body, physical body. We cannot see this mind, but we can all experience the mind because we are all troubled by the mind's sorrow. And how does this ignorance work? This is a typical traditional example in the Shastra. Even in Dakshinamurti Stotram, we have seen this example. The moon, especially, it's an eclipse example. What happens in a solar eclipse? The moon covers the sun, and we are all on the earth. So if we are the Jivatma, the Jivatma is the indweller in the body. And mind is external to that Jivatma. And the Jivatma doesn't realize because it's like our specs. If you are wearing the specs and through the specs we are able to see the world outside, many a times we forget it is the specs which is an instrument through which helps me to see the world. Similarly, sakshi is the real I which has got no word. It is through the mind instrument I see the world. And again, I remove that instrument, I go back to my nature. That is what is that is what is explained in this diagram below. So this mind sakshi covers this sun-like awareness exactly like the eclipse. Eclipse means darkness. We see the darkness. There is darkness when we go to sleep. When we go to sleep, the darkness is like the eclipse. And that darkness is called as Karana Shariram or ignorance, Mula Avidya. In my own mind, I am trying to remove the darkness and say that I am the real I, which is without this darkness. I remove the covering, I remove the avidya. It is at the intellect level we are trying to do this. Because then what the Shastra says is, you are always free. Before the study also you are free, now also you are free, in future also you are the pure sakshi. It is the sakshi which lends the existence and the spurti, satta and spurti. Satta means existence, spurti means illumination. It is the sakshi which illumines the mind. That sakshi is not observable. What is the world? The world is perceptions in the mind. It is not in the sakshi. And what are the different concepts I hold about the world? The world is tormenting, world is happy, world has got all the joy, world is full of joy or full of sorrow. All these are concepts. We experience them, no doubt, but they're all at the mind level. So at the mind level, it is the changing anatma. It's a covering. I remove the covering and I see this sakshi. That is the meaning of this verse where Vidyaranya says, sakshi is the changeless, motionless factor. It is the mind which is changing. I try to reorient my thinking to this concept. Okay, so that was verse number 19. The next verse, na bahihi na antaraha sakshi buddher deshav hitavobhav. What does this say? The witness consciousness can neither be called as external or internal. Both these have a reference to the mind. When the mind becomes tranquil, then the witness exists where it shines. This is a very, very important verse because many a times we don't know what happens to me when I reach this awareness. Here what it says is just remain as awareness. It is self-shining, pure awareness. Don't try to find out, hey, I'm very disturbed because I don't see anything. Because that happens to be the nature of sakshi, in which there is nothing else except itself. So sakshi is not inside or outside, but with reference to the mind, we say, I am inside, I am outside. For example, we are in this world. We say it's because of we are all attached to our mind. It is an automatic process. This is the world. But then we have to come out of this world through these studies and say, oh, this is sakshi and this is the world and this is the mind. Bijasvanta, this verse from Dakshinamurti, this is second verse, very, very famous verse. We have studied Dakshinamurti, all the 10 verses in that we have studied, can go back and see the meaning. In this second verse, the whole world is like a sprout, which is whole world, yeah? It is coming from the seed. The seed is including space and time. It appears in sakshi and then it disappears in sakshi. How? Exactly like a magician. Magician creates a whole illusion for us of the world. He will take off his hat and then he will say, or he will make a eagle fly, or he'll make a pigeon fly. You might have seen a magic show. So similarly, this Maya Shakti, which is there in this Sakshi or Brahman, that Sakshi, that Shakti makes this whole universe appear and disappear, appear and disappear. Sakshi exists in Pralaya Kala also. Pralaya Kala means whenever the world is not seen. They say in the Shastra that the whole world goes out of existence. But Sakshi is there. And what is that Sakshi? When the world is not there, what is that Sakshi called? It is locationless. So who am I? The searcher in me is the Sakshi. Because without Sakshi, there is no searcher. Searcher means the Ahamkara. But Ahamkara is not possible without the pure consciousness. When the Maya is active, when the Shakti, the power behind this pure consciousness is active, it appears to act. But what is acting? Mind. The mind comes up, wakes up, again goes back to sleep, again wakes up. So the mind, with reference to the mind, we say we are either inside or outside. It is a concept of the intellect. So inside, outside, if I'm in the room, outside the room, I am inside the mind, outside the mind. If I'm thinking inside the mind, then I'm not, there is no inside or outside, I am all. So with reference to the thoughts, that is what Vidyaranya wants to say. There is no inside or outside, like in sleep state, when there is no mind at all. Similarly, in Sakshi, there is no inside, there is no outside. It is one undifferentiated, pure state of awareness. And the place or time is associated with the buddhi or with the body. That is what we are going to study a little bit deeper in the following verses. Sakshi na buddhisthanam. Sakshi doesn't have a location like the buddhi. Where to locate Sakshi then? Wherever the mind is, it is the location of Sakshi. Suppose you wake up, your mind goes to sleep, location, that same Sakshi is locationless. The mind wakes up, that is the location of the Sakshi. You say, I am here. When the mind's reactions stop, the Triputi gets resolved. It is the mind which is running outside in Jagrata Avastha, and in Swapna Avastha, it is inside. Now it will be clear. The mind moves outwards, and then I can see the external world. The mind goes internal, where? Into the Atma, into the Karana Sharira, in the sleep state. And in that sleep state, I have another world. I just get up from the sleep state and go to the dream world. That is the inside portion of the mind. When two states subside, it is a state of silence and the Sakshi shines. The Nirvikalpa Avastha, the sleep state is Nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpa means what? There is no change. There is no kalpa. There is no modification of the mind. And that Nirvikalpa state of the mind is illumined by Sakshi. Whenever Sakshi is shining, in Sushupti, it is Nijasthanam. It is the real state. When the knowing process subsides, the Triputi resolves, sakshi of the Tripurti is alone left out. And that is the real look. Unlocated, you can say it is the sthanam. That is the place of, that's pure sakshi. We stop all knowledge operations in the sleep state. And what is left behind is this sakshi. Whole waking state, what happens is that we are gathering knowledge of the world. And what is the world? Only 5 things: sense objects and sense organs. That's all. It is these two which are interacting with the light of consciousness. They are interacting. न तद् भासयते सूर्यः न शशांको न पावकः यत् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तत् धाम परमं मम. 15th chapter, 6th verse. The Lord says, where the sun does not shine, where the moon does not shine, where the fire does not shine, that is the place, Nijasthanam of Atma. That is the Vishnu Paramam Padam, the abode of Sakshi, Hridayam, the heart, the Guha, the Buddhi. Inside our Buddhi is the Hridaya Sthanam of Sakshi. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddeshe Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. Very, very famous verse of the 18th chapter, Bhagavad Gita. It is this Lord who dwells in the heart of all the beings. Heart here means inside the intellect. And he is the one who is causing the elusive power to revolve, elusive power of the mind to revolve. Whole day it is revolving. And who is making this happen? It is that Bhagavan, it is that Lord in the form of consciousness in our own intellect. As if we are mounted in a machine. It's like, like a robot, it's fixed in a with an engine, and then it keeps on moving. Or in a flyer, you sit inside and the flyer keeps on moving, you have no choice. So similarly, the mind is in consciousness and it keeps on moving. Where is the electricity? If we were to ask, Upalabhyasthanam, where do we cognize? That is where the light is, the electricity is. Suppose the light is, I see the bulb blowing, the bulb illuminating, lighting up. I see the electricity. In between, there is no electricity. The wires are going from my wall to the bulb. But in between, the electricity is there, but I can't see it. Similarly, whenever the mind is awake, like the bulb, that is where the consciousness is experienced. But it doesn't mean that the consciousness is not there at other times. It is there, but not felt by us. Mandukya Upanishad, the second mantra, where it is says, Soyam Atma Chatushpat. Sakshi is available for cognition as the substratum of the mind. That is, Sakshi is also called as Brahman. Here, Brahman is used as a word, as a term. The whole world is nothing but this Sakshi. Keno Upanishad Pratibodha Viditam Matham Amrutatavam Hi Vindate Atmanam Vindate Viryam Vidyaya Vindate Mritam. Here again the same message is given, that before you start thinking, the Sakshi is there. You cognize Sakshi in every thought. When you have the notion of space, you are already at the level of mind. If you transcend the mind, there is no time and space. time and space are mental categories. This is going to be our meditation topic today. Where is time? Where is space? Each moment appears from sakshi into the mind and it disappears into the sakshi. And it is this, there are two possibilities. And the two possibilities are, I think I am in space, time, and the other is, there is space, time, I come into it. These are two very big topics in Vichara Sagara. I will just give you a glimpse of it. Very, very deep topics. This is where I want to meditate today. Let's see whether we can meditate and see these two in our own meditation. There are two big concepts in Vedanta. One is called as Drishti Srishti Vada. Every time I touch upon this topic, you should know that this is Vichara Sagara. What does it say? Drishti, whenever I see, whenever I experience, then I can say it is Srishti is there. Creation depends on my thought. I think, therefore, I am in space and time. What is the other opposite? Other thing is, there is space and time, which is creation already there, which is called as Srishti. Srishti Drishti Vada. The world is there, I get up in the world. The whole universe is already existing. I am experiencing, I come and I go out of the world. The Srishti Drishti Vada is the 99% of the people, that is what we all believe in. The world is existing, I am born in the world, and then I leave the world. And the world continues. But Vichara Sagara convinces a student that Srishti Drishti Vada is for a junior student. For a senior student, if he knows Sakshi, I am, he should then focus his attention on Sakshi and say, I am the Sakshi, and this creation is something which is appearing and disappearing, which means space and time are coming and going. This is how there are two views which we can meditate, which we can see for ourselves, but it requires a very subtle mind to understand and grasp these two and see the difference between the two proposals. Because of identification with the body, this is an important point. I take myself to be in space. Very important point. This is, it needs contemplation. These are some areas which Vedanta makes a statement, but then for our own mind to absorb this, we need to think a little bit deeper. So with the identification of the body, I give location, space. I get the concept of space. And with the identification of the mind, through the thoughts which are moving, I take myself to be in time. In my mind, I'm thinking of how I was very young, I was old, I became, all the previous experiences, they come in my mind. What happens then? Time enters my mind. Suppose I'm just sitting, I'm not thinking. There is no concept of time. So actually speaking, is time really there, or is it being experienced because the thoughts are there? You have to answer that question for yourself. Do I experience time without the thoughts? Do I experience space without this body? Then you will understand the truth of sakshi. Time and space are very big concepts of the intellect. Without the intellect, there is no time, there is no space. As sakshi, space, time, causation are in me. As sakshi, not as the body. Then you say, ask the question, are you the body mind, or are you the witness of the body mind? Because the moment you accept you are the witness, you see what happens usually is the moment we stop identifying with our mind or the body, automatically we are sakshi. You don't have to do anything because that is a nature. So these are all small points which Vidyaranya takes it for analysis in these verses. They are very deep verses. I'm going into greater depths because that is how Vidyaranya wants us to think. What is the status you want to take for yourself? The body, mind, you are in space-time, or you are sakshi, time-space is in you. You're not the mind which projects time-space. How to go beyond this body is a question which we all have. To that, we need to establish ourselves as a witnessing awareness first. You have to say, I am the sakshi. Then you will be able to say, time and space are in me. Space, time is body, mind identification. These are all the steps of how to disidentify with time and space and be the sakshi. So as sakshi, I am not born and I am not going to die. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nityam shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Very famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita. One of the top 5 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. If you were to take 5 verses, this will be one of the best. It tells you straight away that you do not have birth, you do not have death. When it comes to the revelation of who you are, there is no other source except Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads. No other source. There is no other source. No other source can have entry into this topic of sakshi. That is why time and space, if you understand sakshi well, then you will be able to understand the entire concept of the Bhagavad Gita, whole concept. Right in the 2nd chapter, Lord Krishna taught this to Arjuna. Arjuna, you are the sakshi. Don't think that you are witnessing a huge battle and all that. You are the sakshi. Take yourself as a sakshi and do your duty. That's all. So the 5th step is, I am the source of space and time, causation as sakshi. Suppose you say, I go to London, I have a sense I am here in London. Suppose you go to India or you come to Singapore, you will say, I have a sense I am here. It is a sense. I don't feel I am elsewhere. I feel I am here. That here is because of the body. The body has gone to London, the body has gone to India, the body has come to Singapore, the body may travel, go to Malaysia, go anywhere. But what remains every time? I am here. I am here. That is the invariable component of the sakshi. I go to London, I go to India, going is the nature of the body. I am transcends space and time. It shows when you feel, you see, this is the anubhava pramana. When you feel that you have not traveled anywhere, but you are there. I am here. You see, all of us, we say, I am here. When you are in Singapore, you say, I am here. When you are there, so what has changed? I am has not changed. Similarly, you do an experiment. In 2020, you say, I am now. In 2021, you say, I am now. I am now there. Now stands for is linked to the time. But what has changed? Only the body has changed. I am has not changed. At all time, you have the sense, I am now, I am now, I am now. That is that favorite Eckhart's fundamental topic. Now never changes. Everything else remains. Now is constant, all the time now. Today, tomorrow, last year, next year, it's always now. We are always experiencing the present. We can add anything to I am other than now and here. Atma is the power of here and now. This chart, which I am showing now, I will explain to you. This is what I have put in the meditation also. I'll explain to you so that you can, when we start meditation, you can straight away understand what we need to do in our meditation. See, whenever we say I am, that is the truth. That I am is a sakshi, it is spaceless, timeless, absolute principle. It is not a relative principle. It is real. Na antaro na bahya. That is what this verse is saying. There is no inside, there is no outside. Without division of space and time. That is the nature of Atma. And whenever I say I am now, you are adding now, time. You are identified with the mind. Because the thought changes. Angry, sad, happy, these are all thoughts which are relative. I am here. Here means again thought. I'm young, I'm old. It is a thought which makes that, brings in the time, brings in the space into our experience. Thought. Chaitanyam illuminates the division of here and there, now and then. Here and now means space. Now and then means time. So what illuminates it is the consciousness. So the time and space, what we have to say is it is a born in consciousness, it resolves in consciousness. Light appears to be divided if you do not look properly. This consciousness is never divided. It is the time and space which divides this consciousness. So we train our mind to remain peaceful without bringing the concept of time or space. We all have inner moments of peace within us. When mind is continuously thinking, it is an addiction. When mind is full of likes and dislikes, I can't teach who I am to that person. Suppose the person is very, very agitated or disturbed, or he is always active, active, active. You cannot go and tell him that I want to teach you who you are. He will not be able to come. That is why we say the mind has to be purified. Emotions take our mind and they take our life. They haunt us along. We can't forget those emotions. This is a very favorite example which is given in one of the other schools. The example is when a sword is hit, there are four things taken up. When a sword is hit in a wooden piece, the line remains for 1,000 years. When a sword is hit in water, the water is divided into two parts, but soon they are covered up. When the sword is hit in air, we can't see any division in the air, in the space. And when the sword, when it is hit in space, absolutely there is no division. What we are trying to say is that this mind which divides is like that sword. Suppose there are certain impressions like that wooden piece. If I treat that thoughts like the sword hitting the wooden piece, then the lines will remain for a long time. Impressions. So Ajnani, suppose we compare this to samskaras or impressions of experiences which we have. For an illiterate person, the samskaras, the experiences in the mind, he carries it for ages, years together. Some people are talking about what they have felt and experienced when they were 10 years old, 15 years old. Somebody created some problem for them, and that suffering is still there in their mind. It is like that wooden piece. There are some seekers who have had experiences, but they have learned to forget it. It is like that water, that sword hitting the water or air. The division is not felt too long. And there are Mahatmas who are like space. If the sword hits the space, it bounces back. Again, it bounces back. So anything which happens to the mind of a Mahatma, it never enters his sakshi. It never goes beyond the surface level of the consciousness. We all have to be like this Mahatma. What I will do is I will stop here. Then next week we will continue, because there are a few more steps in this verse which I want to discuss. It will take a little bit of time, so I'm not taking it now. I will take this next week. I will start with this particular. I will finish this. So this slide, this example, keep it in mind. Think about it. Contemplate what I said and understand the nature of sakshi with reference to the experiences which we have. Om. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudacchade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Shanmugam is going to unmute everybody now. Each one of you can ask questions if you have anything.
Shekharji.
Bolo Baba, yes.
This is last week's question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Is there anything not bound by time or space?
Yes, that is what is Atma.
Atma.
Yes, that is what is called as sakshi. That is what we are trying to reveal in the whole of this last time, this time. See, whatever we experience in our sleep state, suppose you become aware of yourself in that state, that is called as sakshi. At the sleep state, you cannot become because you are filled with a tamo guna. You see, tamo guna means it is the nature of the mind. The mind is made up of what is called as tamas. Tamas means darkness. So in that sleep state, the sleep state is nothing else but a total ignorance that I don't know. But what the scriptures is telling us is you wake up in that state to your real nature.
शिल्पी गैस की दवा देना.
So in that state, what happens is I am aware that I am there, but without my mind, without my body. Now, you can't do that in that state, but you can bring that feeling of that existence while in the waking state. It's possible. That is what again and again, if you are able to do that, you can imagine that I don't have time, I don't have space, but I am there. That I, in which the space is not there, the time is not there, that is my real nature. That is what the whole Panchadasi, whatever we'll be studying again and again in all the chapters, this author is very, very famous to go deeper and deeper into our mind. It's like taking an axe and going deep into a mine, and trying to see where is that Atma? Where is that Atma? The scriptures wants to teach me. They say that it is inside my intellect. But can I experience that? Can I feel the presence of that Atma? That Atma, which I can feel it, I can feel the presence. And I will know it only because I have studied the scriptures. Suppose you don't know that description of Atma is without space, without time. If you don't have this knowledge, you cannot reach it because it will be dark for you. You will not be able to see. You will be thinking it's all, nobody has introduced this topic to you. So that is what you're asking. The question is there anything? That is what Vidyaranya says. Ask this question to yourself. First of all, am I experiencing or not? Am I there in sleep or not? In that sleep, is there space? When does I feel space? Space means all surrounding emptiness. And in that emptiness, the whole world is seen. What we are saying is, like in Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that there the Upanishad is a pramanam. It clearly tells us that the space is born from Atma. That is the proof. See, for all this, we have to always remember, I will apply whatever knowledge the Gita, Bhagavad Gita has given me, I will apply. Whenever I want to know and study the Atma, always do not do independently. Always say, okay, let me take this, na jayate mriyate va. Now, they say the Bhagavad Gita tells me, I am not born. Now, let me experiment. In this body, I am there. All of us, we can do this experiment. I am there means what? I am the consciousness. There are three things. One is consciousness, which is the sentient factor, the knowing factor. I know that the table does not know that it is, but I know I am there. That is one aspect. The second aspect is the body. The body is 5 elements. It is nothing but the 5 elements. Earth element is there in the body. Predominantly, it is the earth element. And the space inside, there is a lot of water. The water is there. 60-70% of the doctors will tell us that the body is full of water. 60-70% is water. And then, so this body is not me, which is inert. The mind is also not me, because this mind is not there in sleep. Whatever is coming and going, it is not me. Drishyam, the moment I am experiencing, the experience is not me. I see a car is not me. I see this body, the body is not me. I see the thought is not me. That means the mind is not me. So who am I? I am that pure awareness. When I delete, when I say neti, I don't, this is not me, this is not me. What you arrive is that Atma, and that Atma has no time, no space, and there is nothing in it except the Atma. That is the answer to your question.
But today the verse says wherever the mind is, there is sakshi, right?
Yes, wherever
So
the
it's
mind
two
is, there is
sides of a coin like that. You know?
Sorry? Huh?
It is like two sides of a coin, right?
Correct,
We
correct.
cannot forget one the other.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So how to abolish one?
No, you say that, you know, I have the experience. I know that there is an experience in which I am there, the mind is not there. This is called as anvaya vyatireka. Anvaya means co-presence and co-absence. I am there with the body and mind. I am also there without the mind and the body. So which is that I, which is invariable, the changeless one? That is your sakshi. The sakshi is there. When the body is there, the sakshi is there. When the mind is not there or the body is not there, sakshi is there. That sakshi I own up as myself. That's all. That is what is the whole teaching. Slowly, anyway, you just keep thinking, keep listening. It will go deeper and deeper into your consciousness. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else has a question?
Fickle, is the thoughts are born out of vasanas, isn't it?
It's a very big question. This is a confusion which I also had for many, many years.
Yeah, really?
Many years. Is there a difference between vasana? Is there a difference between vasana and samskara? And is there a difference between sakshi and samskaras? Is there a difference? And what is a vritti? What is a samskara? What is a vasana? All this will be explained in big detail in chapter 2 of the Panchadasi.
Okay.
You see, they are different. I can tell you that they are not the same. Vasana is different than samskara. Impressions, vasanas are basically tendencies. And it is what we need to understand is the sakshi is different than the vasanas and samskaras.
Yeah, it's entirely different.
I will tell you in short, if you want to go a little bit, the way this comes in 16th verse of Panchadasi chapter 2. The question you're asking is answered there.
Okay. I'll read.
Yeah, 16th verse of Panchadasi chapter 2, because I was just listening to it in the morning, therefore I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's not that I have a super memory, you know. So what it says there is that you must remember that everything which we are experiencing is because of a vritti. The foundation for all our experiences, if you come to know that it is a thought, that is the foundation. From there only everything builds up.
Oh, I see.
And this foundation is, beyond this foundation of a vritti, of a thought, is punyam and papam.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Mm.
The tendency and this punyam and papam express as the vritti, as the thoughts.
Oh.
Very important. This is what is Vidyaranya is so famous for. I mean, this is the deepest in psychology. I know, that's what I'm saying. That second chapter, 16, 15, 16, that verses, they say that punyam and papam, the demerits and the merits, they express as thoughts in our mind.
Yeah.
And throughout our life, it is these thoughts which are coming again and again and giving us experiences of life.
Troubling us also.
Troubling us also.
Shekharji?
And it is this thought, this punyam and papam, I have to get rid of.
Okay.
And there is only one way to get rid of this punyam and papam, because it is my ignorance of Atma, which is the problem of this punyam and papam.
दोनों चीजें हैं, ये लीजिए, हम तो खा ही रहे हैं, आप ये मैंने कहा ये सब रखा है. The vasanas are in the karana sharir, Shekharji.
Yes.
And the vasanas lead to vrittis.
Yes.
And the vrittis leads to kama, desire.
Yes.
Which leads to action.
Correct.
And action leads to the experiencer, the bhoga.
Yeah.
And that is the whole samsara, the cycle of samsara that we get into.
Correct.
So it's a circular action.
Yes. So it is
and
the punya
papam. Yeah.
Yes, it is the punya papam which is coming and expressing in one mind, and that mind, it throws a world around me which I experience, and that becomes my world. So your punya papam is your world.
Yeah.
Chandra's punya papam is her world. Whatever she is experiencing, she is thinking, this is what I am today. The sum total of all the vrittis, all the thoughts which has expressed in the form of, which has come to expression. The punya papam is invisible. It is there, but it is in a dormant form. But the dormant form comes into expression. That is what we call as experience in life.
The samskaras are impressions, actually. It is
yes. The punya papam, which are in potential condition, which is invisible, the moment our life starts in the morning, they start expressing as thoughts during the day, morning to evening. And again, suppose you understand your experience of one day, then you can say that that is my overall whole life.
Yeah. I think the point...
That is what is called as prarabdha karma, which is under fructification. You fructify the karma, and whenever the karma is over,
another set will come.
Yes. The point is that it seems almost that we are caught up in this augmented reality where the vasanas in a very subtle manner continues to drive a certain set of thoughts that leads to certain desires and then actions, and then that's how you sort of lead to the punyam and papam.
Exactly.
And therefore, how do you break this cycle is what is very relevant to us.
Yes, you see,
and what I understand is that breaking of that cycle is through constantly bringing back that I am the witness to the mind.
Yes.
But
you see, it is the scriptures which tell me about this punyam and papam. I don't know. And it is the scriptures which tell me there is a moksha also. You see, it is so for both, it is the scriptures. If I say I have punyam and papam, how do I know? I don't know by myself. It is the scriptures which teach me. And it is the same scriptures which tells me that you can get rid of this punyam and papam and rise above punyam and papam. Na punyam, na papam, na saukyam, na dukkham. You know, in Nirvana Shatkam, all this is deleted.
Yeah, right.
And that is for that also I depend on the Shastra.
Right.
Therefore, the faith on the Shastra is 100% required. Whenever you are in the spiritual field, Shastra is the primary pramanam. It reveals to me my nature of sakshi. Without punyam and papam, I exist. Whenever I experience the world, it is my punyam and papam which is fructifying into thoughts and experiences. The other people around me, in front of me, my family, by all that is nothing. It is just an expression by which the punyam and papam is expressing. It is, see, suppose you get sukham from wealth in your account. You have £1 million in your account or 100 million pounds in your account. It is punyam which is expressing merit. My mind thinks of that 10 million, 50 million pounds in the bank account. I feel very happy, very safe, very secure. But suddenly what happens? I have some other events. It makes me sad. So the thoughts of life's experiences is nothing but a flow of thoughts.
Yeah.
And the moment you understand the thoughts, the source of why these thoughts are coming and going, then you will be able to cross the river of samsara.
Take it as though your body is functioning, not you yourself.
That's correct. You see, the moment you have this knowledge, what happens, Chandra, is you no longer identify with the body as you.
Right.
Many a times after all this, what happens is body is, yes, it is experiencing. The mind is also okay. It is experienced some sorrow yesterday. I forget about it.
Yeah.
Again, I see every day for us, the moment we wake up, it is a fresh day, as if the day has just begun and life has just begun for me.
Right.
Again, I start a fresh day. Again, I say, okay, today is my fresh day. What can I do? So this is how spiritual science helps us to face the challenges of life and keep on learning more and more. I know your question is very deep. I cannot answer this in a short 5 minutes, but you know, when I take the second chapter slowly, see all these chapters. I've covered 2 verses today. You see, for example, these are all knowledge. These are all knowledge about, this is the education to our intellect. Our intellect is full of darkness today about our nature. I'm removing that darkness by trying to understand these verses. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Shama?
Hari Om, Shikaji.
Tell me.
So yeah, as usual, absolutely great. I just have one simple question. Probably you have explained it many a times before, but I just want a clarification. When you say the space and time, it is born out of every jiva's own individual consciousness, because so if you exit out your body and
not
mind,
consciousness born out of mind, not consciousness. It is
I mean,
born out of the mind. Yes.
Yeah. But in other words, when you say mind, it is born out of the conscious. For example, during the sleep, wakeful, and the sushupti state,
yes,
the space and time is of a very different varying quality, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this space and time, as it is, it doesn't exist, or it exists, but it's a concept. It's a concept, is it?
Yeah, it goes into undifferentiated state. That's what you should remember. Right now, it is in a differentiated state. You know, right now I can think about my past. I was young. Last week, I have to take a flight to India. I can think of all this. But there is
Yes.
an undifferentiated state of time. And that is what is called as sakshi.
But sakshi also, and this will sound like you hear the whole Ramayana, and then you say who was Rama and who was Sita. So this is like that question. Sakshi as well is actually a is the very is it Chidabhasa, isn't it?
Yes, it is Chidabhasa. We are talking only of Chidabhasa, not Chit.
Yeah. So
Because
this is also within the remits of the mind. This is what I mean.
It is within the realm of the mind. You see, the moment you say sakshi, sakshi is with reference to sakshyam.
Yeah. So the moment you're exiting your mind, what exists?
The pure consciousness alone.
Which is nirmilam, nirvikara, whatever, ageless, timeless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again and again, remember and try to remember that is what is my real nature.
Yeah. And what is interesting in this, within one's own individual life, therefore, when you start, like when I was a 6 and a 7-year-old, my reference of time and space was so different. You know, my time was so slow. I used to look at people older than me and then think, how are they living for so long? You know, because I used to think, my God, 70 years, 60 years is too long a period. I mean, I just couldn't even fathom. I used to hear about it, that so and so is 50 years old, so and so is 60 years old. So my space and time was limited by my mind, wasn't it? Within my own lifetime.
Yes, it is always, even today, it is limited because of our mind only. It is the mind which is projecting this entire previous, at the age of 7, now you're recollecting, it is the thoughts in your mind.
Yeah.
And what is illumining the thought is the changeless consciousness. That has not changed. Today you are remembering, it is a thought in your mind.
Yeah.
You see, that thought is changing. Like, for example, tomorrow you'll be talking about the future.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be back, I'll be going to work, I've got so many things pending, and I've got hundreds of things to be done. All this projection of future.
Yeah, but that only proves the point that it's the mind construct. It's the human mind construct.
That's right. As long as you understand it is the construct of the human mind, then you are alert. That's all.
In the meditation, I love that word nirmalam.
Yes.
Nirmalam. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
It almost like you feel like getting inside your own mind, taking a great scrubber and giving it a good clean. And you feel, then it comes out spotless. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Shama. You got a bad cough.
No, it's just a little dust, I think.
Okay.
Dust. Nirmalam. I have to get it all nirmalam.
Yes, you've got too much of rajas now. Rajas is basically dirt, no?
Yeah, but then if you apply rajas for your spiritual purposes, the same guna, it actually works very nicely because it's the same trait. You apply it to your spiritual practice, and then you go mad about that. You say, no, why this, and why that? Yeah. And so you can start cleaning it up. Yeah. So it's helpful, the rajas there.
Okay. Anybody else has any other question?
Sekhaji.
Yeah.
Just now, whenever you were saying that Chandra was saying the thoughts coming from where? Is it from sakshi or from the mind itself?
Thought is always coming from the buddhi, from the intellect. Sakshi doesn't have any thoughts. Sakshi is just a light. It is the light in which I see this thought. Keep thinking about this. Whatever I've just now told you, you always just try to meditate on this. Just say that I am the light. I am seeing the thoughts when they rise. I am not going to be behind the thoughts again and again, pushing the thoughts to come. I want to withdraw from the thoughts and be the sakshi. Okay?
Secretary, the new class, when you start, can you put my name in?
Yeah, correct. You're talking about the new class for this Saturday, for the Saturday class, right?
Because I don't know how to send SMS or whatever. You know?
Yeah, no problem. I will just, anyway, you have the link and you just come on, that's all. I'll be starting the Upanishad class. For those who are present here, I'll be making an announcement on next Wednesday. The next Saturday, I'm going to do start the Upanishadic 2-year program. It's a 2-year program where I'm going to revise. For those who have done the Upanishads, it will be a good revision. For those who have not done Upanishads, it will be a good introduction. So I'm going to start next week on next Saturday for the Saturday evening classes, and that will go on for 2 years. And similarly, Panchadasi also, if at all things all normal, then we will also study Panchadasi for almost 1 year at least. Okay.
But
so,
do you give us a certificate that we have taken courses with you?
Who cares? You know, this country, I can give you, if you want, I can write and tell you, Bhagavad has attended for the last 6 years or 8 years. I can give you a certificate every day if you want. No problem. You know,
self does not need any certification.
Yeah, the self does not require any certificate. It's you see this. Many people have asked me this also, because a lot of people who are doing MA in philosophy, they do MPhil. You know, they write to me, they talk to me, they also take my guidance how to prepare a dissertation. Some people are doing PhD in certain topics, and sometimes they ask me, "Can I get a certificate from you?" I say, "I don't give certificates." Because you see, this is purely experience-driven program. It is change, internal change. Because what will you do with the certificate? The certificate is just another, So many times, a lot of people come and ask me, "I'll attend your program. I'll do the full 2-year course if you give me a certificate." I say, then you're not the candidate,
Another body mind.
So we are living in a Kali Yuga, they have one certificate.
I would say the certificate is completely self-defeating.
Yes.
In purposes of Vedanta. You
Correct.
want another upadhi. You want another upadhi.
Correct. Yeah. So I dissuade such people. I said, okay, this course is really not meant for you. I said that please try some other course. You will be able to get, courses and certificates. But this is all about pure self. This is really transformation of your own mind.
Yeah, correct.
It is good. It is good for self-appraisal.
Yes.
Self-appraisal, if we want to do,
That's
is
correct.
very useful. It's very.
useful.
I'm finding it very useful for self-appraisal.
It's
myself.
amazing. Really. You see, the more you even suppose, you keep listening to all these talks. The thing is, it's a very subtle transformation, a spiritual transformation, which is happening inside us. It is there.
Yeah.
That is where the punyam is coming up and the papam is getting destroyed. You see, that is a subtle process, invisible, adrishtam. It is not visible. But when we experience that, it becomes drishtam. It is experienced by all of us, and we feel as if we have learned something. We have become purified. We feel that, yes, I think I'm growing, but I cannot express it. You see?
Yeah.
That is what, you see, if you ask many spiritual students, they will say, I know that I have transformed, but I cannot tell you, I cannot express it in words.
Yeah.
Let the mind, you see, the way I studied is, I said, I will go through the scriptures and their meanings, let it come into my intellect and clean up my intellect. I do not want to put anything, no conditions. No conditions at all from my side, no expectations. Let the scriptures do their job. That's all. I go with an open mind and I say, okay, let me take in whatever my mind can take. No conditions, and I just listen. I listen, whatever happens in my mind, let it happen. That is how we should go about our learning.
It's for future, but
Whatever it is, whether future or now. Okay, thank you very much. Good night. We'll continue next week. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.